Hello, my viewers. Welcome to Hoogar Social Academy. Today, let us learn about the topic called as forest resources. The topic from the Geography of Class 10th Standard, Karnataka State Syllabus. Dear viewers, in our previous number of chapters of geography, we have learned regarding the soils, regarding the seasons, regarding the geographical positions, and now in front of us there is a topic called as a forest resources. It's a Indian forest resources. Now the word forest, when we say, right, which is very essential to all the countries, as forest plays a very important role in the development of the economy of the country. Moreover, to keep this environment, the environment which has lot polluted now, to have a proper environment, there is a huge requirement of the abundant amount of the forest. So, in this chapter, we are going to understand about the what does this forest mean, which are the different types of forest are being there, regarding the conservation of the forest. We will even going to learn related to wildlife sanctuaries, national parks, where they are being located in this chapter called as a forest resources. So let us enter into the chapter and learn more about what the chapter called as forest resource want to say to us. So before moving to that, we have to understand what does this forest it mean. So here the forest, it refers to the total plant life growing naturally, growing naturally in an area, called in an area which is called as a forest, or it is called as a natural vegetation. So this is what, it's a plant life which is growing naturally. The forest area which has been present here throughout the in India, throughout in the world, it has been naturally which has been grown up. And presently we people who are engaged in the usage of the resources which are being available on this earth surface, we people, without keeping in the mind, we went on cutting down of the number of trees. Deforestation was been more done. Presently, as man has been learned the defects of the cutting down of the number of trees, now we are giving more importance towards the afforestation. But before these all things, the forest which has been there, it is there due to the which one, due to the growing naturally, that too in one area, we call it as a forest, and we call it as even as a natural vegetation. So according to ISFR, Indian State of Forest Report, in the year 2021, it was been given that the forest area in India has spread near about 7 lakh 13,789 square kilometer of area. When we look over the forest area, presently near about 21 percentage of the forest area it is been covered, where Madhya Pradesh stands at the highest covered area in the forest, which is not equivalent to the which one, how much we should have it. We should have minimum forest area near about 33 percentage of the forest area should be covered. We are very less, near to 11 to 12 percentage we are been very less. But the government as well as the people of the India are striving very hard to increase from 21 percentage to up to 33 percentage of the forest covered area, which is going to benefit somewhat help to the which one, for the proper movement of our climatic condition of the country called as India, and moreover for the other things also it has been quite very helpful. Here we are going to learn related to six different types of the forest. We are going to learn about six different types of the forest. So six different types of we are having the forest. Okay, so which are those six different types of forest? When we look over there, we will get to know that the six different types of forest are: one, it is called as a evergreen forest; second one, deciduous monsoon forest; third one is tropical grassland forest; fourth one, mangrove forest; fifth one, desert vegetation; and the sixth one is alpine or the Himalayan forest it is. So in this six category, our forests are being divided. Now we have to understand why these forests are being called with these different names. Why it is known as a evergreen forest, what would be the reason for this, why it is deciduous, why it is tropical grassland, why it is mangrove forest, why it is desert vegetation, why it is alpine or the Himalayan forest. There are some sort of characteristics are being there of these forests. Let us go one by one to know and understand regarding these forests. Okay, now first topic is it's related to the forest called as a evergreen forest it is. The word is what? The word is evergreen. Okay, which shows what it is that 12 months, 24 hours, the trees which we see here, they will be totally green. Green in the sense the leaves of the trees, the leaves which we see on the trunks, these leaves will be totally, they are will be green. Okay, the main reason for this living the green is it is near where we see that in this forest near about 250 centimeters of rainfall, 200 centimeter minimum rainfall. So if we if we go through the division of the rainfall: heavy rainfall, medium rainfall, low rainfall. Okay, we can get easily get to know that heavy rainfall areas, where we call heavy rainfall areas to those areas where the rainfall is about 200 centimeter of rainfall, above 200 centimeter of what of the rainfall we see. Okay, now what we see that, now we see that the trees which are been here in the evergreen forest, right, from the ground floor, from the ground floor, almost these forests we see. Okay, let's somewhat related with the help of the map. Let me make you too easy to understand. Okay, in a short form I will draw the map which will help you to understand regarding the forest areas. Now, dear students, here one dear students as well as we viewers, one thing you should be there know that map construction or making of the map is very important. How much you learn the making of the map, it will help you for the locating the places. Okay, now if you look over this area, we will easily understand that evergreen forest. Okay, now in the Himalayan part if we go, the foothill of Himalayas, the foothill of Himalayas. Okay, the foothill of Himalayas where it is a dense amount of what of the forest, foothill of Himalayas as well as the Himachal, where we will see dense amount of what, dense amount of the forest. Okay, now this is the areas where this mountainous area where huge amount of forest are being found. Moreover, if we come towards the Western Ghat, here towards the eastern Ghat. Okay, Meghalaya, Assam, Arunachal Pradesh, Manipur, Nagaland, these all places where we see heavy amount of what, heavy amount of rainfall. Okay, so whenever there is a rainy season, our monsoon period, these mountainous area receives heavy rainfall, even over the ghats called as Western Ghats as well Eastern Ghats. Due to this reason what we see, there will be a heavy rainfall. Okay, so the forest area, okay, 900-meter above the sea level, 900-meter above what, above the sea level, what we see, the forest we see over. The major thing of this forest evergreen, what we see that the trees which are near, the trees are here, it is been found they are near to each other. Due to this reason, the trunks of the trees, they are being connected with each other. The trunks of these trees are connected with each other. They form canopy, which makes what it is that the rays of the sun could not able to reach up to the where up to this ground floor, up to the ground floor, and it remains here itself. So if you look from the upside, it will be what here brightness, but when we enter into the where into the forest area, here it will be the totally dark. Okay. Some common characteristics of the vision of the forest called as a evergreen forest. So in this form, what it is, our evergreen forest is been they are been formed. So towards the western Ghats, towards the eastern Ghats, towards the northeastern states, Assam, Meghalaya, Nagaland, Manipur, Tirupura, Arunachal Pradesh, okay, Bihar, somewhat West Bengal, Uttaranchal. These all places are been covered with the forest called as a evergreen forest. Okay, and as they are called evergreen, it's because they are regularly 24 hours, 12 months. They are the leaves of these trees are being found green, so they are called as a what? Called as a evergreen forest. So this was all related to the evergreen forest. Now, if you go to the way to our next topic, okay, the second type of the forest. The second type of what? Second type of forest called as a deciduous, called as a deciduous forest. Okay, what it is? It's a deciduous. What it is? It's a forest, or it is even called as a monsoon forest. Monsoon forest. Okay, we can even call this deciduous forest or this monsoon forest as a what? As a semi evergreen forest. What we can call? We can even call it as a semi evergreen forest. There is no big difference between the evergreen forest as well as the tropical deciduous forest, monsoon forest, or semi evergreen forest. But the word is what? It's a monsoon forest, it has been said. Now, when we are seeing monsoon forest, the major character of this forest is that the trees which are here, the trees which are here, okay, the leaves of the trees, these trees, what they do, they shed their leaves, they shed their leaves due to the dry weather, right? And that too we see during the time of which, and in the time of the April, as March, as well as the April month. So during the dry season, it has been found that the trees which are been here, they shed their leaves, which to the way to the ground floor, which are been touched to the which one, to the trunks. And once again, when the monsoons begins, we see that the tinny small rise of the leaves on the way on these trunks. And once again, up to the whole monsoon, what we see, the leaves converts into the leaves takes birth, and throughout the tree we see the leaves that too of the color called as a green. But difference what it is, that little bit more difference what it is, that in the evergreen forest the trees are very near to each other, but here somewhat we see the trees are little bit far from each other. They do not form canopy. What they do, they do not form what? They do not form canopy. So here in this deciduous monsoon forest, here we see that the rainfall which occurs right here, 70 to near about 250 centimeter of rainfall. 70 to out 70 to near about 200 centimeter of rainfall we see in the way in the deciduous forest, monsoon forest, or semi evergreen forest. These forests are also found near to the way to the mountainous area. These forest is also found near to the which area? Near to the mountainous area. So deciduous forest and evergreen forest, they are there. We do not see too much of difference. But the other forest, there is a slight difference we see in the like alpine forest, or it may be the Himalayan forest, right? Or it may be the desert forest. Okay. Our third forest, it is referred as a tropical grassland forest, it is referred. Now two words are here, one is tropical, another one is grassland is said. Okay. Tropical, the areas where there will be a heavy or high raises of the sun, it's a tropical. Now another word is what? Grassland it is. The land which has been covered with the, with the grasses. Grassland. Rough, coarse grasses. Rough, coarse grasses. So the tropical grassland forest area itself says what it is, that this is the forest where we see very less scanty amount of the trees, as they are being found in those areas where the temperature is high. So here majority of the trees which are been found, they consume less amount of of the water. Such plants, what we see, they grow very well in the way in this tropical grassland areas. Okay, it's a totally rough coarse grass area it is there. Here we see in the tropical grassland, the area receives where this forest has been found in that area where the rainfall is 60 to 75 centimeter of rainfall, and tall grasses and small herbs are very rarely it is been seen here as well as there. So trees are very less, more number of what we see only tall grass as well as the herbs are being found. Such areas are being referred as what? Referred as a tropical grassland forest. In the same way, our another topic, forest area called as a mangrove forest are being said, right? These mangrove forests are being formed due to the which one? Due to the tides. Due to which one? Due to the tides. Now, for example, like, right now here, this is the river, okay, which has been flowing towards the downside. It has been flowing. The bank of the river. Here, what we see, the trees, what we see, the trees we see, these are nothing but they are been formed due to the tides of which one? Tides of the these rivers. So that's why he says forests are formed due to the which one? Due to the tides. And majority of the river called as Kaveri, Godavari, Krishna, Ganga, these are the big rivers. Okay. Ganga towards the northern great plain, Krishna in the southern part of area, right? Again, Godavari towards the eastern part, Kaveri again to the southern part. These rivers, they are big, as the bank of the river where we see these forests, they are been found. Now the trees which are been here, the roots of these trees are very deeply rooted to the floor, deeply rooted to the floor, which helps them to what? To have the connected with the whom? With each other. So this even helps in the way in stopping the flood. These forests also helps in the way in the stop of the flood. Which forest? These are called as a mangrove forest. And at the Ganga basin near to there, many number of trees called as a Sundari tree. Okay, this is the reason the Ganga basin is been even referred as a Sundarban forest. Also, it has been called this Sundarban. It has been called due to the tree called as a Sundari tree, which has been found more at the Ganga basin. So our fifth one. Okay, after understanding about the evergreen forest, tropical deciduous forest, we studied about mangrove forest and the desert forest. Now we are having two more forests. Let us learn regarding that. So our fifth forest or the fifth type of the forest, it is desert forest it is. Okay. Now in this desert forest, what type of the characteristics do we see? The desert forest, where this is a forest where the maximum amount of rainfall we see near to to below the 70 centimeter of rainfall. It's a desert forest. So scanty amount of what we see rainfall we see, and this in scanty amount of rainfall, what we see that how much he says 50 centimeter of below 50 centimeter of rainfall, such type of forest is been found. Now the characteristics what we see that the plants which grows here, the plants which grows here, the roots of the plants, the roots of the plants which are in there, they are deep rooted, they are deeply rooted. Now this is a floor down to the which one? They are quite very deeply, they are been rooted. And moreover, they consist of the thorny shrubs. Okay, these thorny shrubs are very very common to those plants which we see in the where in the desert. Like for example, now thorny shrubs, if we talk, now we can give an example of cactus. Okay, which has been mostly found in the where in the desert forest. So this is the forest where less than 50 centimeter of rainfall. In such areas we see the forest called as a desert forest, and the plants, they are deep rooted. And second, what, almost thorny type of shrubs are being found in the way in such forest. In the same way, our sixth type of the forest, it is the alpine forest or Himalayan forest we call. Now in the Himalayan forest, when we talk, or different types of the trees we see over. Okay, from the short trees to up to the tall trees we see in the where in the Himalaya. As it, this vegetation is totally, it is different. It has been found as it's a Himalayan alpine Himalayan forest, it is there. So naturally near about 100 to 150 centimeter of rainfall we see in the where in the alpine forest or the Himalayan forest. So here the trees, as we grow, as it goes up above the altitude of the sea level, so as the height increases, now from the tropical type of climate it changes into the polar type of climate. So that the characteristics of what it is of the alpine, as we move upside or as the forest moves upside, downside it was a tropical climate it was, but as it moves upside it converted into the polar type of climate it moved over. According to changes, due to this change in the climate, we see different types of plants are being found in the where in the alpine forest or in the Himalayan forest. And the trees, right, as it is, as we said that we see from the short trees to up to the big trees. Okay, height of the trees are quite very tall, but major character what it is at the trees, they are having pointed leaves will be there. Okay, the trees will have a what, a sharp pointed leaves we see in the where in the trees which are being found in the where in the Himalayas or Himalayan forest, or we call it as a alpine forest. So in this way we are having six different types of forest. Okay, which are been referred as a evergreen forest, which are been referred as a deciduous forest, which are been referred as a tropical grassland forest, which are been referred as a Himalayan forest, which are been referred as a desert forest, and which is even referred as a, which has been called as a mangrove forest. So six different forests plays a very important role to have a good climatic condition in this country called as India. And we see varieties of the trees with the different characteristics, and these trees are also found in the different areas also. Okay, in our next session let us learn more regarding the distribution of forest as well as our wildlife sanctuaries and our national parks. But as, don't forget to like as well as to subscribe. And as I always say that you can easily make the notes just by with the listening easily from copied and from the board also easily you can make up your notes also. Let's have our next session with few more up from the topic called as a forest resources.